Nestled deep within the dense woods of Oakridge stood the old mill house, a relic from the 1800s. The mill had once been the heart of the town, grinding wheat into flour for the villagers. Now, it lay abandoned, its once vibrant machinery rusted and silent. The locals whispered about the place, tales of ghostly apparitions and chilling screams in the dead of night. No one dared to venture near, except for the occasional thrill-seeker or misguided adventurer. Sarah had always been fascinated by ghost stories. Growing up, her grandmother would tell her tales of spirits and hauntings, and Sarah would listen wide-eyed, hanging on every word. Now, at 24, she had become a paranormal investigator, traveling the country to uncover the truths behind these legends. When she heard about the old mill house, she knew she had to visit. One crisp autumn afternoon, Sarah arrived in Oakridge. The town felt frozen in time, its old buildings and cobblestone streets a stark contrast to the bustling cities she was used to. She checked into a small bed and breakfast, where the innkeeper, Mrs. Thompson, eyed her with a mix of curiosity and concern. "You here to see the mill, Mrs.?" Thompson asked, her voice tinged with a warning. Sarah nodded. "I've heard the stories. I want to see if there's any truth to them." Mrs. Thompson shook her head. "Be careful, dear. That place has a dark history. People go there and come back changed." Undeterred, Sarah gathered her equipment: a camera, a digital recorder, and a flashlight. As dusk settled, she made her way to the outskirts of town, following an overgrown path through the woods to the mill. The air grew colder, and the trees seemed to close in around her. Finally, she reached a clearing, and there it stood, the old mill house. The building was a shadow of its former self, its wooden walls weathered and covered in ivy. The broken windows stared back at her like hollow eyes. Sarah felt a shiver run down her spine but pushed the fear aside. She had a job to do. Inside, the air was thick with dust, and the floorboards creaked under her feet. She set up her equipment in the main hall, where the millstone still stood, now covered in grime. The sun had set, and darkness enveloped the room, broken only by the beam of her flashlight. She started recording, speaking into the camera. "This is Sarah Collins, and I'm here at the old mill house in Oakridge. The locals say this place is haunted, and tonight we're going to find out if that's true." As she moved through the house, she felt an uneasy presence, as if unseen eyes were watching her. In the corner of the main hall, she found an old diary, its pages yellowed with age. She carefully opened it, her fingers tracing the faded handwriting. The diary belonged to a girl named Emily, who had lived in the mill house in the late 1800s. Emily wrote about her family and their struggles, but as Sarah read further, the entries grew darker. Emily spoke of strange noises at night, whispers that seemed to come from the walls, and the feeling of being watched. Sarah's heart raced as she read the final entry, dated October 31st, 1892. "They're here. I can hear them whispering my name. Mother says it's just my imagination, but I know the truth. The spirits of the mill are restless, and they want something from us. If anyone finds this diary, please know that I tried to warn you. The mill is cursed." A sudden noise made Sarah jump. It was a faint whisper, so soft she almost thought she imagined it. But then it came again, clearer this time, a child's voice calling her name. "Sarah." Her breath caught in her throat. She swung her flashlight around, but the beam revealed only empty shadows. The voice called again, closer now, sending chills down her spine. She tried to steady her nerves and continued to explore, the air growing colder with each step. In the basement, she found old machinery covered in cobwebs. The temperature dropped further, and her breath came out in visible puffs. The voice returned, louder and more insistent. "Sarah, help me." The voice seemed to come from behind a large, rusted door. With trembling hands, she pushed it open, revealing a small, hidden room. Inside, she found a child's skeleton, its bony fingers clutching a worn teddy bear. A wave of sorrow washed over her as she realized this was Emily. Tears filled Sarah's eyes as she whispered, "I'm so sorry, Emily. I'll help you find peace." The room grew colder, and the air hummed with energy. Emily's spirit materialized before her, a translucent figure with sad, hollow eyes. Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of sorrow and desperation. "Mother was wrong," Emily's voice echoed in the room. "The mill is cursed. They trapped me here, and they won't let me go." "Who's Sarah?" asked, her voice shaking. "The millers," Emily replied. "They made a pact long ago. They wanted the mill to thrive, and in return, they offered the spirits of their children. Now the spirits are trapped, and the millers still linger, feeding off our pain." Sarah's mind raced. She had to find a way to break the curse and free Emily and the other trapped spirits. She remembered the stories her grandmother told her about how spirits could be freed by breaking the objects that bound them to the mortal world. "Emily, is there anything here that binds you to this place?" Sarah asked. Emily pointed to the teddy bear. "This was my favorite toy. They used it to trap me." Sarah picked up the bear, feeling its cold, eerie energy. She knew what she had to do. With a heavy heart, she tore the bear apart, piece by piece. As she did, Emily's spirit began to fade. "Thank you," Emily whispered, a hint of a smile on her ghostly face. "Please free the others too." Sarah nodded, determined. She spent the rest of the night searching the mill, finding objects tied to each trapped spirit: a locket, a toy soldier, a hairbrush. With each item she destroyed, another spirit was set free. The house groaned and shook as the spirits departed, the curse weakening with each passing moment. Finally, as dawn approached, the mill was silent. The air felt lighter, and the oppressive weight that had hung over the place was gone. Exhausted but relieved, Sarah gathered her equipment and made her way back to the bed and breakfast. Mrs. Thompson was waiting for her, a knowing look in her eyes. "You did it, didn't you?" Sarah nodded. "The spirits are free. The curse is broken." The innkeeper smiled, a tear slipping down her cheek. "Thank you, dear. The town owes you a great debt." As Sarah left Oakridge, she couldn't shake the feeling that the mill was still watching her. But this time, it felt different. The malevolent energy was gone, replaced by a sense of peace. She knew she had made a difference, and that was all that mattered. Years later, the old mill house was restored and turned into a museum. Visitors came from far and wide to hear the tale of the brave young woman who freed the trapped spirits and broke the mill's curse. And every Halloween, the townspeople would gather to remember Emily and the other children, their stories now a part of Oakridge's rich history. Sarah continued her work as a paranormal investigator, but no matter where her adventures took her, she always remembered the old mill house and the spirits she had set free. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of places, there was hope and the possibility of redemption.